Today marks 50 years. Butch Peelle has been in the real estate business, and so we gather to celebrate his career and retirement.
He is absolutely not retiring.
He's not retiring. He's going to keep on keeping on. It's just a milestone that he's achieved, and we're pretty darn proud of him.
Oh, okay. My mistake. Perhaps we start over at the beginning.
So we came from rather humble beginnings. You don't know how bad you have it until later you look back in the rearview mirror.
We did grow up on a farm. We farmed. We had the animals, the grain. We lived in a farming rural environment. And I think probably that was a huge blessing that we didn't understand at the time because of the work ethic that's inculcated naturally, as opposed to some of the youth today that believe that work is a punishment.
Butch had already left home before we got indoor plumbing, so
He couldn't wait to kind of get off of the farm and do something that he enjoyed more.
I did not see Butch ever being on the farm.
no, I did not anticipate any one of us would go to college, let alone all three of us.
I also know that he worked at a gas station third shift during his time at University of Cincinnati, and it was in a very rough neighborhood. It was not a pretty start, and then he eventually ended up with a degree that allowed him to teach middle school.
And he was a junior high teacher and an excellent teacher and a very innovative teacher.
He'd bring these giant bubbles and these crazy activities and really put his heart into that and his full energy into that as well.
But in his teaching, he also entertained. And next door, he had Gary Kersey as a history teacher. And I think each one of them tried to out-entertain the other one.
Some of the stories I hear, he'd be fired in a heartbeat in today's terms.
I came down, actually sat in one of his classes and watched him throw erasers at the children.
Each paycheck, I think he questioned, even though he loved it, why he continued to do it. So he did venture out and met with a couple other realtors in town about some other dreams, and the rest, as we say, is history.
Initially, when he started out 50 years ago, he began with Emmett Bailey Murphy Company. Eventually, he left that firm and was brought into the Derbyshire Associates firm.
And learned the ropes in a few years, and it wasn't long till Butch decided he wanted to do something on his own. And that's when he brought in a family member, Ken Lundy, and those two young men started that deal, and they've never looked back.
And then when he started his own business, he bought definitely a fixer-upper.
Oh, it was in a 2-story house right next door to where our office is now. It was okay.
The stairs creaked. You knew where everybody was in the building.
I didn't care where I worked with Butch, just as long as I was working with him.
When he first decided to open his own business, I remember probably I was 8 or 9. He wanted my help in sketching out what was going to be his sign with his logo. And he had in his mind a triangle, and because it was unique, it was a fun afternoon. I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but I could hold the ruler, the yardstick, while he kind of sketched it out, and we would erase some things and get things a little bit more trued up. But in the end, that ended up being his logo, his trademark that his business has been known by for 50 years.
I think he was ahead of his time, to be honest with you. His slogan is everywhere you look. So in his mind, every day, he wanted to be everywhere you look. When we went out to dinner, maybe it was Frisch's, he would stick his business card in the little salt and pepper shaker holder. As a little kid, I used to be embarrassed. I'm like, Dad, why are you doing that? That's so embarrassing. But he was like, listen, how am I gonna take us out to the next dinner if we aren't gonna get my name out there and make sure that they know that if they want to sell a house, that they can give me a call.
The kind of up-and-coming office was Peelle and Lundy. The first time I went in there, I was so intimidated by these 3-piece blue suits.
One thing I learned from Dad early on, and I always laugh about this, but basically it's fake it till you make it.
Butch asked me if I could type. Well, I said yes. I could, but he didn't ask me how fast. Wanted to know if I could take shorthand, and I said, Oh, my mom would teach me. Yeah, because she taught that in school and language arts. But no, I really couldn't do any of that stuff. And thanks to my mom, I got the job. She said, give her a chance. Called me and gave me a chance.
Well, what it's like working with Butch is you try to get as much done as possible before he gets there. Because once he shows up, all of a sudden, he's going to put on a show, and I'm going to be stuck with these forms I can't get anybody to sign because they're watching Butch put on a show. So I try to get as much done as possible. And it's easy to do because he's usually about a half hour late. So that helps.
I have probably worked with him more than any other realtor in Clinton County during my 48 years in the real estate business. Butch has always been the one that has fought for the underdog.
He looks at people as people that God has created, and he does not want them to settle for anything less than he's created them to be.
And I've always kind of seen that in him, and like just kind of going around Wilmington as a kid and seeing him know by name 60 people every time we walked down a street was definitely always remarkable to me. And it just is such a testament to how long he's been walking the path of really engaging, really connecting with the people that he interacts with.
His customers are repeat customers, and they just love him to pieces is because he's got that gift.
He treats everyone the same, whether it's a $40,000 deal or a $4 million deal.
Very caring. I mean, his whole goal is he just wants to help someone get into a home. There's been so many times where I've heard that he's not making a dime on this, but he's helped him get into the home.
When he gets a client, he is all in on that client, all in on it, and he will go to the ends of the earth to get them exactly what they want.
He will really do whatever it takes.
Yep, he really will.
Peyton. Listen to me. You gotta never give up. You gotta fight. You gotta go get it. You gotta work hard. You gotta go every day.
Everything that he's attempted to do has been to do it as well as he could possibly do in his profession, which has served him well for 50 years, as obviously he has been the best residential salesperson in the county for decades.
You say those things, and I just see Dad. Like, that is my dad. And, I didn't have any other dads. He was my only dad, and so as far as I'm concerned, that's what a normal dad looks like. I didn't know that he was particularly unique in those ways, I think, until I got older, and especially into adulthood, and just realized the perseverance and the tenacity that it takes to be so driven for so long.
Some of it, too, is the teacher in him, because if you give him anything, it comes back with all these little X's and cross-outs and this little blue pen everywhere. So I never give him an original contract, so that way he can't mess it up.
There will always be edits to be made.
Always.
But he always makes you like him and always makes you smile. So you can't ever be mad at him, and he handles people very well, and I appreciate his positivity.
He is the most humble, down-to-earth individual that I've ever met. If he knew you, he would run across parking lots to give you a hug, to say, how you doing?
He's just so real with people. With him, it's always about who he's working with, and I think people just really appreciate his character and how much they can tell that he is for them.
That's always been kind of a key to his success, too. He looks at things, he speaks good things into existence, and they tend to end up happening that way for him.
Okay, I'm convinced Butch is special. But don't you think it's time you told Butch directly?
Oh, Butch. I can't believe it. Wow, congratulations on 50 freaking years.
50 years, old man. You've been just putting smiles on everybody's faces, filling their heart full of love and joy.
You've really kind of shaped what real estate is in this area.
And on behalf of myself and Rick, we love you and we're very proud of you.
Your steadfastness, your energy, your open-heartedness, and the vigor that you've brought to this journey. and the courage that you've brought to this journey has always inspired me, and it continues to inspire me.
Thank you for being my biggest cheerleader.
I wish you well. I know you're not going to retire.
And you still got it. You still got it going on.
Love you, Butch.
Thank you for being a good friend.
And I wish you the very best.
Really, I've been like family.
I don't know what to say, except for I love you so much, and that I have been honored to work for you for 32 years. You're the best.
You really are one of a kind, and I've learned so much from you, and I love you. Thanks, Dad.
I couldn't have asked for a better dad.
You look around the room and see your family and your friends. It's much, much more than a profession, much, much more than 50 years of real estate. And you can feel comfortable when you go home tonight, look in the mirror, that it's all been about as good as you could ask.